Hello everybody, welcome to Builder Bob Behind the Scenes. Got something special for you today. Why look at the ordinary when we can do the extraordinary? And if you've got an ATEM video switch, you're doing the extraordinary. Now, we use Canon cameras. They have a LANC controller, and that's what we're going to show you today. A LANC controller that you've probably never heard of that we use for our Canon XA35s. It also works with a Canon G40. High-end consumer, low-end professional. So I'm going to switch to another computer, and we're going to show you a close-up of that particular controller, where we plug in on the camera at. And let me go over to this particular camera, and you're going to see this particular device in action, an XA35, and I'm going to get around on the side of that and show you that connection. Now in an XA35, if you'll notice when I spin that around, this is the SDI connection that's plugged in, and that little connection right there is the LANC controller. Right there, that little bitty dot. It's extraordinary. What you always want to remember is when you're using a LANC controller with one of these cameras beforehand, power off the camera, plug in the LANC controller, turn the camera back on, then your LANC controller will work. Do not try to use the controls of the camera on the camera. Once the controller is plugged in, only use that remote control. Otherwise the camera will get confused, and if it gets confused and you do that by accident, if things freak out, turn the camera off, turn the camera back on, and everything will be ready to go. So I'm going to do a zoom in on the other part and show you what that controller looks like. But that's where it mounts. That's where it mounts on that camera. Now, if it had been me designing this, all these things should have been done on the back. The SDI should be on the back of the camera, and so should that LANC, but they didn't ask me. But I'm telling you where it's at, and that's how we use it. Now, the LANC controller you've probably never heard of. Let me go to a different computer. First of all, how I found out about this. You've probably never heard of the company, but they make some professional products and they're videographers themselves. That's StudioOneProductions.com. The first thing we had of theirs that we tried was we needed a mixer, because when we started out with our cameras, because of the way we were doing our audio, we didn't have the XA35s. And this is prior to us even having the Canon G40s. But this little mixer I'm showing you worked with the G40s and all the cameras below, like the Canon Vixia 500s, the 600s, the 700s, all of those. Uses that little bitty plug-in for a camera that doesn't have an XLR. So on the website, I knew somebody that was using one of these devices, and I was very impressed with it. And so we got one, and it's the XLR BP3 Professional 3-input XLR adapter. And that is how we found out about this company. And so while we were in the market looking, and we looked at all of them, spent over a year looking at them, we decided to get the one from this company, and I'm going to show you why. Tell you what I like about it, what I find a little odd about it, what I don't like about it. But this, and they make two, let me back out. They make a ProZoom 1 and a ProZoom 2. We have the ProZoom 2. It's a great little controller. The buttons on this model, I'll zoom in on this, are white. The actual shipping model that we have, the buttons are all black, and there is no red button. There is a green and red light. Everything else looks the same. What I like about it, everything works. It's phenomenal. It's amazing. What I don't like about it is the connection on the back, to me, is a little odd. I had to stack a lot of washers in there to get it to fit. And what I'm using is scavenged one of the arms, support arms, off of a tripod. I have it attached to that, but this is attached to our FilmTools video card. So I'm going to flip over and show you what that looks like from a different view, and I'll get out of the view while I bring this around and show you where we're at. Now you're going to see two different devices working together. This view, where that camera's at, and I'm going to zoom out. And yeah, it takes some getting used to, because you have to think about what you're doing. And this camera that we're using with the LANC controller, we also have it set up on a gimbal. And I'm going to bring this in and show you how we have this done. It allows me to utilize this camera in ways that otherwise would be difficult to go back and forth and try to bring into focus. So this is the controller. Lighting looks pretty good. And if you notice to the right, that's a Servo City gimbal. It's a ServoCity.com pan and tilt controller. I'll maybe do a video about that later. Right now we're going to focus on this controller. And I'm going to zoom out just a little bit and show you how we have this set up. Now on our video cart, this is on the left-hand side of the cart. So we've got that U-bar, which is on the toe. And I have this set up on a clamp with this clamp on this side. And the bar this is on, that this is setting through, is barred from a tripod. So you can get an idea what that looks like. This arm and this arm allows me to control that camera on that tripod. And I'll give a description of this clamp, whether you want to call it a cupola clamp or whatever, a convex clamp. It's pretty much what it is. And this is the side where you normally would put a light pole through. And this is actually the Avenger D230. It's already assembled, the two pieces together. One side clamps onto the U-bar, the other side clamps onto this arm, and then underneath I've got the washers. That's the only thing I don't like about it, is the way the mount goes on the bottom. But the way the controller works, I've got a dial up here, and I'll zoom in on that so you can get a better look at it. But I've got a dial up here that I can adjust the speed. Right now I've got it set at 6. I can also power the camera on and power the camera off from this remote. I can adjust the focus, I can turn the display off and on, and I can also set record. I've got a red button here, and I can do record from this here. And I can also set the focus from this. Right now it's still in auto, but again I can turn that off. Pretty much what I do with it is just the zoom, and I can change the speed right here. Now I'm going to go back over to their website and show you some more about this controller. And think about a LANC controller. Whatever your camera can do, the LANC controller can do. The LANC controller may do more than what your camera is capable of. It depends. My only familiarity with this is using it with the Canon cameras. Like I said, this works with the Canon XA35 and it works with the Canon G40. It's amazing, and it's worth what it costs. Let me go back over here to the website and we'll take a look at this. Now on this particular computer, I'm going to zoom out, and you can read all about it. Go to studio1productions.com, the ProZoom 2. I also got them to send me a PDF document about the controller, which is good to know because it works with other brands, Sony, Canon. Tells about the buttons, the operation, and it's pretty much bulletproof. You plug it in and go, and you're in business. And that's what it looks like. And I can zoom out. I can only go in so far. It takes a little getting used to, but I wanted to show you. That's the LANC controller. We have it mounted on one of the arms off of a tripod I scavengered. And that's put on this clamp. It is an Avenger D230 clamp. Clamped here, clamped with the pole right through here, tied down. And I have these two controllers right here side by side so that I can manipulate this camera and put it where I need it. So if you're looking for a LANC controller for a Canon camera, that's it. This is just a quickie I thought someone might be interested in if you're having issues with trying to get your cameras to run around. So I hope you enjoyed this Builder by Behind the Scenes, and that's one of those little tidbits that I think you might find handy. Check this out. It's worth the money. Thanks for watching. I appreciate if you'd subscribe. Have a great day.